Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of VectoScalar Tech Talk Show. I'm your host, Vikas Jain. For people who are joining for the first time, VectoScalar Tech Talk is an online live show on technology and digital transformation shared by senior tech professionals and global thought leaders. This is an initiative by VectoScalar Technologies, which is an IT service pioneer serving large enterprises to startups to build cloud native enterprise softwares and mobile applications. In this episode, our guest speaker, Nikhil Aggarwal, is going to cover key things founders and CTOs should look for in a tech partner. Just to give you some introduction about our guest speaker, Nikhil Aggarwal, he is the CEO and co-founder of VectoScalar Technologies with more than 18 years of corporate experience. Previously worked with companies like Aricent, HCL, Aristocrat before starting VectoScalar Technologies. He has been a driving force in creating today's IT culture, software enablement, and global business services. Welcome, Nikhil, to the VectoScalar Tech Talk Show.
Hello, Vikas. Hello, everyone. Thank you for welcoming me here.
Yeah. So, Nikhil, before we dive into the tech talk that we usually do, would you like to share anything unique about you, which most of people who know you may not be knowing? Anything unique about you?
I'm a person with a positive energy, Vikas, and I guess many people around me relate to me because I keep challenging themselves to learn more and grow more. From quite a long time since I've been associated with Vector I have been trying to energize the people and trying to thrive their energies in the positive channel. So that's one thing I guess I would like to highlight.
Yeah, and I'm sure after being closely working with you for so many years, I can vouch for that. And I think in that times, the kind of scene that we have seen in last 2 3 years in the IT industry, we leaders need to have that kind of energy. So
Absolutely.
coming back to our tech talk topic for today's show, that what are the key things that founders and CTO look for in a tech partner? So after being closely working with so many tech startups so far, do you see a pattern that how a tech startup is founded and how the initial team is formed?
So when we talk about a company which is a dream come true for the founders and the co-founders, right? Who come together, who have the same dream, who visualize it, right? Nurture their dream into ideology, and then they plan it, execute it, like similar to like what a Bollywood and a Hollywood director would have done, right? He
Yeah.
she may dream of something, and then a super duper hit movie comes to our cinema halls, right? So similar thing happens in our IT industry also. So the people from IT and non-IT both backgrounds sometimes have their dreams, which then IT solutions can help to make them true actually, right? So when we talk about the key thing when we look for a tech partner, so I would say it's not only about the people from the technology background who have done the startups, people who are from the business, from the various industry domains, who look for their technical expertise as a partner to help them to bring their dream come true actually.
Okay. So that's interesting. So people should have that kind of common energy, common pattern, common vision for the product that they want to deliver. And why I'm asking this question, that people from engineering background, we have done the engineering part, but that's a curiosity that when we see the lot many big startups forming and being acquired by these big companies like WhatsApp, and we come to know that it was founded by probably there was a small team of 20 people, 30 people, 50 people at max, right? That's a
Mhm.
company size who are forming such big and large organizations. So I was just curious to know, so how is the initial pattern that, because you have interacted with so many founders one to one, how is that if a founder have that idea, so what is the next step, what do they usually do?
So the first step is if a person is from the non-technical background, he or she generally look for a person who has the technical experience and validate their thoughts and validate their business idea to start with, right? Because everyone, the first step is to have a validation. Because जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना यार कि यार अपना तो सबको अच्छा लगता है. If
Yep.
I am having 10 ideas in a day, I will feel all 10 are very good. And
Yeah.
when I start brainstorming even with you in a meeting room, at the end of it, I'll come out and say, okay, all 10 are bad, for example, right? So
Yep.
the meaning to start with is you need a validation, right? That would be step one. And that validation, you generally go for a person who actually you trust, you believe, and you know from your prior experience in the personal life, right? That may or may not be necessarily from your own industry, but definitely from the business experience point of view, right?
Okay.
Once you have the validation of your idea, which you really want to start your own venture for it, you go for a technical person who have the experience in the technology and who can actually help you and guide you from the technical point of view of your idea, who can actually validate the feasibility study whether it is feasible or not, right? If I tell you, okay, let's start selling the land on the moon from the mobile app immediately, then again you have plenty of other questions, okay, like how, what's the size of the moon land, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know that question, if it's not feasible for you to find the actual numbers and the coordinates and everything, you can't having an app with selling the moon land on the mobile app. You understand that, right?
True. Yes.
So
Yes.
similarly, you needed someone who can actually technical validate your idea. That may be again the same friend from the technical background or somebody else, which you can actually get on a board on the position of head of engineering or maybe like the CTO role in your
Okay.
future company. Yeah,
Okay.
and then the
So
journey begins actually.
okay, okay, that's an interesting point because most of the people, or there must be so many founders these days who are seeing that okay, lot many startups are coming on, and they must also have some idea. So the first point of contact in usual pattern that you have seen is that they find a technical person, and then they work with them, discuss the idea, probably take the idea further, and that's the initial formation where there is a business person and then there is a technical person who has become
True.
the part of the team. Okay. And how do they decide that whether to have their own engineering team or get a tech partner? Because VectoScalar has been a founding tech partner with so many startups. So
Mhm.
what is the pattern do you see that when companies decide that to have their own engineering team and when they decide that to have a tech partner?
Nowadays, if you talk about the current world, because so we really like to go with the things which have the minimal direct, uh, I would say, effort involved, and minimal effort input, and output is maximized, right? So if you go for many services, people would like to outsource the respective services to other companies in the beginning. Once they
Okay.
start into the real productions, because the main idea is to get an solution out to the world, right? The worry is not to develop themselves. The worry is here to what your dream, you want to make it true. Now you want to identify which all services, if you're talking about a technical solution of a problem, right? You want all technical components to combine together and deliver it, right?
Yeah.
The importance is not to have your own team. यार मैं ही बैठ के आटा मांडूंगा, मैं ही रोटी बनाऊंगा, मैं ही सेकूंगा, मैं ही बेलूंगा. You can't do
Yes.
that, right? If you are
Yeah.
in a kitchen, अगर आप एक रेस्टोरेंट खोल रहे हो तो आप सारे काम आप नहीं करोगे, right?
Yes.
So the similar thing, what you need to do is to identify what all services you can outsource to get rid of the stress, tension, and planning and execution, and you dedicate it to one person. But that person must be, or that company must be, your well trusted and should have the proven records with you.
Okay, that's an interesting observation that we can think of it as that people who want to start with a small footprint, like minimal effort, and start immediately, and probably may not have the right kind of background. Then they look forward to have a tech partner so that they can focus on the business side more and then delegate the activities of technical development to some other team. So it seems like it is a very critical decision in the life cycle of a startup that the kind of tech partner that they are choosing, right?
Absolutely. Even if I go one step back, Vikas, even the CTO does not code itself, right?
Yeah.
CTO helps in architecturing and planning, and then the execution has been taken care by the development team or the tech partner, right? What they have based on the current planning as well as the funds they have, because
Okay.
uh, your own development team owing itself, right? When you buy a Mercedes car or when you rent out a Mercedes car, there's a huge difference in the capital you need for it.
Yeah.
Similarly, what is similar to what a technical team is actually, right? The right set of technical
Yeah.
people who have proven themselves in past, getting them on board on the day one is really, really difficult nowadays. But to
Yes.
having as them as a tech partner is not comparatively that difficult at all. So that
Yeah. And
difficult definitely is there, but this is a wise decision to have a technical partner on board, to have especially in the MVP phase, and then maybe you can dilute that percentage of your tech partner involvement and your own development team according to your business and financial plan.
Okay, that's an interesting observation. So, you must have seen so many startups who may have come to VectoScalar, or so they may have some hard experiences in the past as well, that they found a tech partner and they could not deliver the solution. So, which means that decision to choose a right tech partner is so critical. So, what do you think that what founders and the CTO should look for in a tech partner? What are the 3 or 4 things which you think that most critical that one should look for in a tech partner before finalizing them?
So to start with is ideation, Vikas, right? The first point is the tech partner you're looking for should be able to understand your dream project, should be able to understand what you actually need for, and understand the implications and the delivery involved into it, right? So in short, they should be on the same page with you in the ideation and brainstorming phase, right? That would
Okay.
be key number one that would be required. If you go ahead in the next step, the tech partner should have the capabilities to deliver what exactly is required to deliver your that idea, right?
Okay.
That convert into a solution, technical solution, maybe a mobile app, maybe a web solutions, maybe a both, or maybe a third, some cloud enterprise solution also. Make sense?
Yeah.
And the third and the most important thing is the experience in the leadership of tech partner, right?
Okay.
We totally understand that the majority of code is written by developers who may not be on the so much experience range, maybe from 2 to 6 years of experience, who write the most of the lines of code in terms of the KLOC, right? But if you see, you should go with a tech partner who actually have the relevant experience with their leadership team, who can actually guide, lead, and deliver the product you need from them. So I would say these are the key things, because I definitely think people definitely look forward to identify the right
Okay.
set of people in a tech partner.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's just dive into each one of them and to discuss a little bit more. So when you talked about that, the tech partner should be able to understand the dream project, but how a founder and tech partner, the CTO, will understand that they have understood it? Because we have seen in the market, uh, it's a common pattern that whatever you say and every the client will say yes we can do it, yes we can do it. So all the tech part, I think I have talked to so many leaders, and their first and foremost concern is that people will say yes in the beginning and then they will say, then the reality will come out. So they want to hear whether you can actually do it or cannot do it. So how they can ascertain that they have actually understood the dream project?
Okay, so the cross questioning is the answer to your question, Vikas, right?
Okay.
So, because I've been on that stage many times, and I
Yeah.
recently met a person, I really loved him. The way he actually test me, actually, for example, right? So,
Yeah.
I met him over lunch a few days back only. So he keeps asking me, okay, Nikhil, ask me what you want. So he was not telling me, but he was asking me, Nikhil, okay, you ask me what you need to ask. So I'm trying to ask the question which that pops up in my mind related to his business idea, which we are trying to estimate and convert with the plan to execute that project, right? So the very important thing is the right set of questions which I may be asking. So the way I will be asking the right set of questions, you can actually identify whether I can understand your dream project or not, whether you and me are on the both are on the same page or not, whether
Okay.
our ecosystem which we and both thinking together aligns to each other or not, and the most important, the wavelength of thoughts should match. And if
Okay.
I will be asking him the right sort of question which either he has thought earlier or he actually appreciate whether, okay, that makes sense, I missed to think about it, then this cross questioning, basically I would say again, this the two words, cross question each other, that actually helps you to understand whether the partner you're looking for, he's the right or wrong, based on your dream project innovation required.
Okay, that's an interesting observation. And in between, so for the viewer who are watching the show today, if you have any question or your comment, like the kind of discussion that we are having, so if you have any question from Nikhil, you can ask in the chat box below, and I'll be gradually taking those questions. If you have a comment, you like to share your thoughts on this topic, then also you can share in the comment box below, and I'll be taking up gradually. Now, coming back to, so that's a beautiful insight that for it's the first validation is the business idea validation, where the other tech partner team is able to understand first that importance of that business idea. Are they able to, are they curious about that business idea? Are they are open to have a cross questioning on the business idea? That's first. Now talking about the tech capabilities, it's a big thing to confirm that what are the actual tech capabilities, because again people will say yes, we do have. Look at any IT services website and people say that they can do each and everything what's possible on the earth. But when we proceed further, we found that okay, every company has certain capabilities, certain key capabilities, that most of their projects were delivered on that part. So how to find for a founder or a CTO that is the tech partner having those tech capabilities that they are looking for?
So, to answer your question, I would like to phrase a statement, Vikas, here, which I very frequently say in my organization. When I keep talking to the people and the clients at VectoScalar, is that technology is not the barrier actually, right? And the programming language is nothing so important based on your skills and and the persona you need to have, a developer need to have, right? if
Yeah.
if you are a good developer in one programming language, you are equivalent good enough for another programming language. Definitely there is some learning period which is required to understand the technical capabilities or the perfect use of the language programming constraints, I would like to say, right? So at VectoScaler, we strongly believe that language is not a barrier, and we always be ready to code in any possible best suited language we identify for the programming solution. Even that may be
Yeah.
Java, Python, Node, .NET, or you name it. And basically, we strongly believe that is not the barrier for any one of us. So again, to identify that the technical capabilities hold by the technical partner, not you need to discuss the architecture. You need to discuss the technical solutioning. You need to find out the edge cases and their solutioning, what technical partner is providing. So that what the key factors you should look into a company who you are getting on board to develop your idea into a product.
Okay. Okay. So probably the key core capabilities to be discussed. It's not just to be written, that it's not just a checklist that do you have it or not. It's again coming back to the first input, that cross questioning. You ask them question, discuss about the architecture and probably the previous success stories, that what they have done differently.
Yes. Yeah, the success stories are definitely the key, plays a key role here. You can definitely ask them for a testimonial. So you can ask them to link you to your existing partners or past partners which you have worked in past, and they can validate directly with them the kind of performance, kind of scalability, the kind of reliability, the kind of reusable code, kind of bug free, or any factors you're looking for into tech partner. You can definitely ask for good testimonial or references, and you can directly check with them. Ask them a cross question. Again, asking questions is the best thing to evaluate anyone. That we started from nursery class when we have a kid, or even parents are having an interview at the schools actually. So asking questions and getting the right answer is the only way, because
Yeah, but I think that asking question is an art itself. So probably there should be a book that what could be the right question that one should ask. That's an
I
interesting.
will
Like,
definitely motivate you to write down a book for it actually.
let's
I
see.
really like
Yeah,
the way
it
you
should.
think and like to draft into the article and the book.
Thank you very much.
Over to you,
Now,
Vikas.
yeah. So one more thing, that having the tech capabilities, one is in the technology tech stack that one is using.
Hmm.
But nowadays, I think one
Yeah,
another concern that lot many founders and CTOs are having is the scale of operation. Like building a small application with 1,000 users is different from an application where the on the first day itself there will be millions of users. I think when we launched and worked upon one of our client Bystar, we had the similar experience that on the day one there was a huge traffic that came
absolutely.
on the that kind of thing. So how founders and CTO can ascertain, and probably how tech partners should make that clear, that what is the volume that is going to be there on the application, and is the design conducive for this? So how founders can check that capability as well, that kind of scale that tech partners has handled so far?
So again, the answer is again same cross question, Vikas. But let me
Okay.
rephrase into another factors which can actually
Yeah.
help you directly on it, right? So number one, you really need to understand whether do you need the scale on day one or not. That's really really important. And before I continue to answer, I would like to bring you another topic that is really important for any founders or CTOs to understand the importance of MVP, right? What we really call is minimal viable product. Right?
Yep.
So we always believe to build a universe, right, of our idea,
Yep.
but we should not, and we even must not try also. That's my strong recommendation to any entrepreneur who really wants to work on an idea to deliver a product to solution to the society, right? I definitely encourage to minimize and scope MVP version of their whole solution to the world, right? Because if you do not reduce it, if you cannot put a MVP full stop into it, you are definitely trying to burn your hands. That's my observation, basically, right? And
Okay.
based on your MVP, you should be looking for like what size of audience you're targeting in your MVP release. So the first thing that founder and their marketing and sales team should do is to identify what exactly the level of scale and the level of users they are looking for in their phase one release or MVP phase. You ask, right? Number two, how to identify even the tech partner can handle it or not. Again,
Yep.
they can go for and ask for testimonials on the previous products. They can definitely ask and check themselves on the applications they have developed in the past, right? And the most important, if they already have a CTO on board, the architecture itself speaks for it, Vikas, right? When we develop an architecture at
Right.
VectoScaler for any possible idea into a solution, our architecture itself speaks for the scale and the future enhancements into it, right? And definitely you don't need a million users on day one, right? You definitely should be doing an MVP with a less number of users, which definitely saves a huge number of cost for the cloud and other possible services you are using.
Okay, that's interesting. That it is important to have a MVP in place. It's not just the end product that should be in mind, but the phased manner, that what is the first MVP that we are planning, and then the scale of delivery should be based on that. In first MVP, what is the scale that one is looking for? So is VectoScaler also helping any tech partner, or has it happened that they actually help the tech company in deciding the MVP also? Is it possible?
Absolutely. When we discussed, when we got involved in the ideation phase, our senior leadership team definitely share their experiences, positive and negative, based on the product requirement they are having, and also try to share the technical experiences based on the services that going to use in the development of that particular application. And also, we encourage and discourage also at some areas, again based on the feature and the requirement again, right? So for example, if you are having a good experience for example, if you're using a Docker service in particular solution, so again it's not like yaar, everywhere we're going to use Docker service, har jagah Kubernetes use kar lo, har jagah elastic beanstalk deploy kar do. No, the solution you're looking for, the solution we implement, architecture we design varies from the solution for a problem at all the places, right? So again, every problem have their own solutions, and based on the
Yeah.
MVP version we design it. We definitely design for the scalability also for the future purpose, right?
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes
Yeah.
you also have to realize, because that it may be that you go for a solution which is not scalable to 1 million users, because if we design it, we will have $1 million expense from the day one, right? So
Okay.
sometimes we even go for a solution which may not be scalable on the for that particular kind of users, but we will have the reusability of the components developed, and then we rescale and redesign it when we have the one MVP viable product that is agreed and supported and validated by the end users in the market. So it varies from the business to business, idea to idea, and again, the kind of users we are having.
Okay, and I think that brings to the third recommendation, that looking for company with senior tech leadership, because the kind of things that find deciding on the reusability component, that whether the design is such that which can be reusable, and that requires the senior tech members who can think on that aspect, right? Yeah. So, what, how one should actually get in touch with the tech partner to find out that whether they actually have that senior tech leaders, and how much they are going to be involved in the project?
So again, we start looking into our neighbors. When I say neighbors, means friends and the friends and friends on the LinkedIn to start with, and we can look for their recommendations, right, and identify the right set of people who are their potential tech partners, and then we can have a couple of round of discussions with them based on the knowledge we would like to share with each of them, because in India it is really important and has to be very much confidential until we actually launch into the market, right? So the importance of NDA and the disclosure is really important when we talk about this also, right? We have already talked about securities in past, and we can take that particular criteria again in future again. But to talk with is to look forward for a person who's acquaintance in your social circle, I would say, or maybe reach out to VectoScalar. We may be definitely your first choice.
Yeah, that's great, and I appreciate that. I think there are many questions. Probably we can have a continuation session because the costing and there are many things that can be discussed here. But I would like to just take one last question before closing the Vectoscalar Tech Talk show today. Is about, is there any difference between the founding team from India versus the people who are like from the global Western side, the kind of the team that they are looking for, their decision criteria? Is there any difference, or it's more or less the same?
I would say the kind of leadership we're looking forward is much more in India, and
Okay.
because you will see that the number of entrepreneurs are proportionally exponentially high in India as compared to
Yeah.
the other countries in the world. So definitely there's a difference in the thought leadership. Maybe we can talk about it in the future
Yeah.
sessions about how is the Indian and the foreign companies have a different views, and what are actually their acceptance and look their criteria are how they are varied
Yeah.
actually, because it's again a long discussion, Vikas.
Yes.
And
No,
starting with the first important I would like to tell you is the user experience that you were talking. That's one first difference what I generally see when we talk about the application that developed from India and the foreigner companies basically.
okay. The probably the excellence part, the user experience which is created by the application, there is a difference between the one. And I think things are changing. I think with the
Absolutely.
probably Indian companies have also, I think, are having that those kind of benchmarks.
Some of them are definitely even crossing
Yeah.
their bar. So for
Yeah.
sure, yes.
Yes. No, that's so interesting, and I think it was a useful discussion and very critical discussion, because there are a lot many founders and CTOs team like who want to develop. Founders are having so many ideas, but they are not sure where to start. People have seen Shark Tank and Shark, all those shows, and now they want to see that how they can actually also turn their idea into a vision that they have. So thanks, Nikhil. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Vikas. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So thanks everyone. Thanks for being watching the show today. And if you have any comment and question, you can type in that comment box below, and we'll be taking those questions in the future Tech Talk show. Thanks again, and see you in our next show.